Have you ever noticed how some people disappear on their birthday? No parties, no posts, not even a message reply, just another ordinary day. But here's the strange part. Birthdays are supposed to be about joy, right? So why do some people feel nothing at all? It's not what you think. This isn't about being antisocial or hating attention. There's something much deeper happening beneath the surface, something psychological, something that reveals more about human nature than most of us are willing to admit. Let me paint you two pictures. On one side, you have people who treat their birthday like it's the most important day of the year. They plan parties weeks in advance. They post countdowns on social media. They make sure everyone knows. The cake, the decorations, the photos, everything has to be perfect. Their birthday becomes a production, a statement, a moment that demands to be seen. And then, on the other side, you have people who let their birthday pass like any other Tuesday. No announcement, no celebration, no acknowledgement whatsoever. They wake up, go through their routine, and by the time they close their eyes that night, the day is over. To them, it might as well have been invisible. So here's the question that makes psychologists pause. Is it sadness, maturity, or something deeper in their psychology? Because if you've ever been the person who ignored your own birthday, or if you know someone who does, you already know this isn't simple. This isn't just about whether someone likes cake or not. This is about how the human mind protects itself, how it adapts, and how it survives. Stay till the end, because you might see yourself in one of them. And once you understand why people do this, you'll never look at birthdays or yourself the same way again. Let's start with the first group, the ones who carry invisible wounds. Imagine this. You're a kid. You wake up on your birthday morning with that electric feeling in your chest. Today is your day. You told your friends weeks ago. You reminded your parents. You've been counting down, and then the day begins. You wait, you check the door, you look at your phone. Hours pass. And slowly, that excitement in your chest turns into something heavy, something cold. Nobody shows up, nobody calls, nobody remembers. Now imagine that happening not just once, but twice, 3 times, year after year. What happens to a child's brain when disappointment becomes the pattern? Psychology has a term for this: learned helplessness. It's a concept developed by psychologist Martin Seligman, and it explains what happens when someone experiences repeated failure or disappointment without any control over the outcome. Eventually, the brain stops trying. It stops expecting good things. It builds a wall. So when you see an adult who treats their birthday like it doesn't exist, understand this. It's not that they don't care. It's that caring hurts too much. Their brain learned, years ago, that hoping for something good only leads to pain. So they stopped hoping. They stopped waiting. They stopped letting that day mean anything at all. It's a survival mechanism, a psychological shutdown. The mind says, if I don't celebrate, I can't be disappointed. If I don't expect anything, I can't be hurt. And that pattern, once learned, becomes incredibly hard to break. This isn't coldness. This isn't indifference. This is protection. These are people who wanted joy so badly as children that when it never came, they had to kill the desire itself just to keep moving forward. Now let's talk about the second group, the ones who are buried alive by life itself. Imagine waking up on your birthday, but before you even open your eyes, your mind is already running. Deadlines, bills, meetings, a project due tomorrow, a client who won't stop calling. Emails piling up faster than you can answer them. Your phone buzzes before your feet hit the floor. You're behind before the day even starts. You tell yourself, I'll think about my birthday later, but later never comes. You're in meetings, you're putting out fires, you're managing chaos, you grab lunch at your desk, you answer messages while walking. Before you even look up, the day is gone. You didn't celebrate your birthday, you didn't even remember it was happening. This is what psychologists call time blindness. It's not about forgetting. It's about the brain becoming so overloaded with immediate demands that it loses the ability to step back and see the bigger picture. When you're drowning, you don't notice the date on the calendar, you just keep swimming. And here's what makes this group different from the first. It's not pain that drives them, it's pressure. Modern life has become a machine that never stops, and they're caught inside it. Their birthday isn't traumatic, it's just irrelevant. There's no space for it, no mental bandwidth, no room to breathe. They didn't forget their birthday, it just got buried under everything else. And by the time they realize what day it was, it's already over. Maybe they feel a small pang of sadness. Maybe they think, I should have done something. But then, the next day starts, and the cycle begins again. This is the psychology of survival in a hyper-accelerated world. When your nervous system is constantly in fight or flight mode, when cortisol is always elevated, when your brain never gets a chance to rest, celebrations become luxuries you can't afford. Not because you don't deserve them, but because you literally don't have the capacity to process them. And then there's a third group, the quiet ones. The ones who know it's their day, but don't need anyone to remind them. These people are different. They're not running from pain. They're not drowning in pressure. They simply don't tie their sense of self-worth to external validation. They don't need the party, the posts, the attention. They've found something most people spend their whole lives searching for: inner satisfaction. Psychology calls this autonomy. It's one of the 3 pillars of self-determination theory, developed by psychologists Edward Deci and Richard Ryan. Autonomy means you feel in control of your own life. You make choices based on your values, not based on what others expect. You don't need applause to know you matter. People in this group might spend their birthday hiking alone, reading a book they've been meaning to finish, cooking a meal they love, taking a long walk at sunset. They don't announce it. They don't perform it. They just experience it quietly, privately, fully. And here's what makes them psychologically fascinating. They've decoupled celebration from social proof. Most people celebrate because they want to be seen. They want validation. They want confirmation that they matter. But this group has already answered that question for themselves. They don't need candles to feel seen. They've already found their light. This isn't loneliness. This is freedom. It's the psychological maturity to say, I don't need your recognition to feel whole. And in a world obsessed with likes, shares, and visibility, that kind of quiet confidence is rare, almost radical. So now, let's bring it all together. Let's connect the dots. With the first group, it's pain, old wounds that never fully healed, a heart that learned to protect itself by shutting down. With the second group, it's pressure, a mind so overloaded that joy gets lost in the noise. Not because they don't want it, but because there's no room left to hold it. With the third group, it's peace, a soul that found satisfaction within itself, not running from anything, not chasing anything, just being. And here's the truth that most people miss. When someone treats their birthday like any other day, it isn't apathy. It's a reflection of how they've learned to survive. It's a window into their psychology, their history, their relationship with themselves. You can't look at someone who ignores their birthday and assume you know why. You have to ask deeper questions. What did they learn about celebration as a child? What does their nervous system allow them to feel? What does inner peace look like for them? Because the absence of celebration doesn't always mean the absence of joy. Sometimes it means something far more complex. Sometimes it means they've transcended the need for external markers of worth. Sometimes it means they're protecting themselves the only way they know how. And sometimes it just means they're so tired, so overwhelmed, that survival takes priority over everything else. None of these are wrong. None of these are pathological. They're just different strategies the human mind uses to navigate an unpredictable world. But here's where it gets personal. Here's where you have to turn the mirror on yourself. The real question is, which one are you? Are you the person who needs the celebration because deep down, you're still waiting for the love you didn't get as a child? Are you the person who's so buried under life's demands that you've forgotten what it feels like to pause and breathe? Or are you the person who's made peace with yourself, who doesn't need the noise because you've already found the quiet? And here's the follow-up question, the one that really matters. Do you need the celebration, or have you already found celebration within yourself? Because once you answer that, everything changes. Once you understand your own psychology, you stop judging others for how they spend their birthday. You stop assuming that silence means sadness, or that peace means loneliness. You start seeing people for what they really are: survivors, strategists, seekers, all trying to make sense of this strange, beautiful, painful thing called being human. So the next time someone you know goes silent on their birthday, don't assume they're sad. Don't assume they're lonely. Ask yourself, what survival strategy are they using? What has life taught them? And maybe, just maybe, respect the fact that they've found a way to exist that doesn't require your approval, your attention, or your celebration. Because in the end, the most powerful birthdays aren't the ones everyone sees. They're the ones where you wake up, look in the mirror, and say, I'm still here. I made it another year. And that's enough. That's not sadness, that's strength. That's the psychology of people who've learned that the most important relationship they'll ever have is the one with themselves. If this made you think differently, if it helped you understand yourself or someone you care about, then subscribe. Because we dive deep into the kind of psychology that explains you, not the surface level advice, not the quick fixes, but the real, raw, human truths that make you stop and say, I've never thought about it that way before. This is where psychology meets life. This is where understanding begins. And this is just the beginning.